Podcast, your home for all things Tottenham Hotspur. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of the Spurs News Podcast. I am Sam. Joining me this week as Matt continues to be out unwell. Get well soon, Matt. It's my partner in crime from many other podcasts. It's Stefan.
I have been allowed to return.
You have, yeah. You've obviously been released from Amazon.
I am back. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm alright. Now, you're not too well yourself. You're suffering with a bit of a cold, so I've dragged you here. Yeah, I've kind of dragged you here because last week I was descending into madness talking to myself.
In fairness to you, you did quite well. I listened, you did well.
Yeah, it was heavily edited, to be fair. There was a whole phone-in segment where I was basically talking to myself but doing different voices for a while.
I know you well enough to believe that could have happened.
Yeah. Very much so. But yeah, this is the Spurs News Podcast. We are back. We're trying to bring you a show every single week. We got a few challenges at the moment, so apologies for that, but we will keep endeavouring to be here to try and make some sensible things Tottenham Hotspur and have a bit of a laugh, and yeah, that's about it really. So we're going to open the show this week talking about the 2-0 victory over Everton. That was at the weekend. Whenever there's been another game and of course a defeat, it always feels like so long ago, but the Everton game, Richarlison injury aside, which thankfully is now looking like it's going to be a lot less than what first feared, so he'll be back in time for the World Cup, which is great for him.
Good news. Yeah, that was a worry. It
was a very sad moment because you could see after the game just how upset he was. But the actual performance and victory, I was really pleased. I thought we played really well. We controlled large parts of the game. Yeah, I mean, we controlled large parts of the game, which is something we haven't really done a lot of, which was good. And yeah, scored a good couple of goals. So yeah, I was kind of pleased with the Everton game. Did you get to see much of it?
I saw a fair bit of it actually, which was I'm very glad to say. Players, so Højbjerg really stood out as impressed me.
Yeah, against Everton,
really impressed me against Everton. He's one of those players that I've never been fully enamoured with.
Yeah,
I think he does his job well under the radar, if that makes sense. Yeah. So therefore, he cracks on, gets it done. But then when he does make a mistake or something happens, that's the kind of the bit that's seen on TV, for example.
Yeah,
I've not been lucky enough this season to go to the actual stadium yet. So all of my viewing so far has been based just on the TV viewing, which means that you kind of see where the ball is. So if a mistake is made or he misses a glaring opportunity to score, that's on the camera.
Yeah.
However, against Everton, I thought he actually did really well. Scored a great goal.
Yeah.
But seemed to be fairly busy the whole way through. And I thought it was actually, from the majority of the game I saw, a very good performance by us.
Yeah, I agree. And it was sort of like a solid win. And I came away from the game feeling pretty good, pretty confident in where we are and how we're playing. And I think the thing is that we're not playing a style of football which is, wow, this is incredible to watch. There's no kind of denying the fact that we are not playing a sexy brand of football. You can't get away from that. However, I'm recognising that to change the course that we were on under that bloke who shall not be named, you have to build the foundation. You can't just walk in and go, right, day one, sexy football. Hey, look, we're doing it. You got to build a foundation, and you got to still. And the way Conte works is very much a kind of tactical discipline, and then we move. You kind of have this instilled in you that you're going to fight for every inch of the football pitch. And then at the same time, you're also, once that's instilled, you can then, be pretty, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the way, Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do the basics well, and then build upon that. So I'm kind of okay. I can see where we're going as a squad, as a team. So I can accept that. Okay, it's not that great to watch at the moment. That there's a lot of comparison with Jose, and the fact that Jose had us high at the table, doing well in all the cup competitions, and then it just absolutely slammed out of nowhere, and we never recovered. And I can understand why people are making that comparison, because the football wasn't good under Jose at any point. The difference is I watched all of that, and I'm watching all of this.
Yep.
And under Jose, it just felt like the players were stuck in concrete. Like, they weren't fit. They weren't buying into what they were doing. They looked lost, a lot of them. Just looked confused all the time. Terrified of making a mistake ever.
All confidence was sucked
it
out
was,
of them, wasn't it?
Oh, massively, yeah. You had Harry Kane and Sonny, and if not for them and their form in that season, we'd have never have hit any sort of height. It would have been dire the whole way through.
Yeah.
With this, we're seeing other goal scorers. We're seeing other people get on the score sheet on a regular basis. We're seeing players trying to look up and trying to play. They're being encouraged. Look at our central defenders on a regular basis. Dyer makes up an extra man on the edge of their box. Romero seems every now and again think, I can be. Every now and again he's like, I can be a striker. Let's have a go. Ben Davies, so they've got this tactical discipline, but then a freedom to go, right, if it's on, go. Back yourself, trust yourself, which is very different than what it was under Jose. Under Jose, it was you'll stand there, and if you move from there, I will scream at you.
Yeah.
So I can understand the comparisons, but for me, I thought the Everton game was very good and a very good demonstration of solid performance from us, where we controlled the ball and we won the game. And I said before, with the Everton, you looked at it and you sort of went, on paper, we're the stronger side, so we should win that game. But of course, football's not played on paper; it's played on grass.
Oh yeah, and as a Spurs fan, you look at that and you go, "Yeah, we're definitely going to win that," which means we're going to lose 1-0.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, after dominating the game. Yeah. So after the Everton game, then felt okay. Felt pretty good about it. I knew going away to Man United, Old Trafford, midweek, 8 p.m. or 8:15 or whatever it was, kickoff. It's going to be a challenge. Man United might not be the force they were, but you only got to look at their team sheet. Sancho, Rashford, Bruno Fernandes. That's a bloody good side. That Anthony guy. So you only got to look at it and just go, yeah, okay, this is going to be a challenge. And I felt we went there, and in the first half, I was kind of like, Man United had more shots against us in the first half than they've had against any other side in a full 90 minutes under Ten Hag. And also, they dominated the possession more. Now, you could look at that and go, that's because we were crap and everything. But I think at some point, you also have to look at it and go, they were very good. And I don't think, even Ten Hag said afterwards, that's the best they've played. Full stop. In any game he's managed, that is the best his team have played. Now, it's just...
It's always against us. It's always against us, isn't it? It's like,
I was going to say, is it like some cruel irony that it seems to be Dr. Tottenham that will see a team now and give them that unbelievable...
I remember things like Aguero going on a gold drought for Man City, plays against Spurs, scores a hat-trick.
Yeah.
Balotelli only scored like one league goal for Liverpool against Tottenham.
Yeah.
It always seems to be like, this team's really out of form. They've lost their last 5 home games. They played Tottenham. Oh, it's like watching Spain of 2008. Yeah. It's like, what has happened? Why is it against us that every team and player goes, yep.
Yeah, people just don't
so
like
frustrating.
us. I think we have to accept it. But they played great. And I think in the first half, it was kind of like, we did hit them on the counter a few times, and I think this is the big difference maker in Premier League football week in, week out, is you have to take your chances. Like if you create an opening against any side in the Premier League, any side is capable of beating the other. And if you create openings, you have to be able to take them. And and don't get me wrong, every striker, every forward player can have a day where it's like, Jesus, I can't hit a barn door. You know, that can happen to the best players in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And last night, when we were playing this game, I think from about halfway through the first half, I looked at it and went, Kane, Sonny, they don't look like they're going to get in there tonight. It just doesn't look like it's on. It just doesn't look like... I don't know. Yeah, and I could have been completely wrong because, you know, Kane and Son are both perfectly capable of just picking up the ball and bang, it's in the back of the net. But it just didn't look like there's an expression I saw on Twitter, and I've stolen it because I thought it was excellent. And I think this sums up Tottenham last night. All of the team, except Lloris, who I thought was exceptional.
He had possibly
the
his
whole
game
team.
of the season.
Yeah. He stopped it from being 5-0. He was phenomenal
At half time. Yeah.
The whole team, their second touch had to be a tackle. And I saw that on Twitter, and I've stolen it because I think it's accurate. Our first touch every time last night was all over the place. Every player, Højbjerg, Bentancur, those two you can rely, like, these are two players that you can completely rely on in our midfield. You know, you only got to go back a few days against Everton. They bossed it. They were phenomenal.
Yep.
Every ball, you know, like quick passes, everything. Last night, all over the place. Bentancur and Conte, I thought at one point we're actually going to have a punch-up.
There was a moment where, he was screaming across the pitch, only from the touchline. And Bentancur just looked at him, and I was like, oh dear.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the thing is Conte is absolutely right. I mean, it's like concentration levels, where have they gone? And you can compliment Manchester United's pressing. Obviously you can, and they did a really good job. And again, something Man United have not really done. And against us, for whatever reason, perhaps Ten Hag's still really pissed about the Champions League, I don't know. But they came at us. You know, they absolutely came at us. And I thought for large periods of the first half, though, I genuinely thought we played through it quite well. There were times we're playing it at the back and I'm having like a panic attack. But then, coolly as you like, Romero just clips the ball and Doherty chests it, passes it, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay. All right, you guys are a bit better than I give you credit for. Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I unfortunately had to take my wife up to the hospital last night for a checkup, so I was kind of watching in bits on my phone because it was the match was on Amazon. Yeah. So I was watching it in bits on my phone. I managed to watch the first 15 minutes at home, and then it was kind of mostly bits and pieces on my phone. And the first 15 minutes or so, I was messaging you, and I was like, United look sharp. They look the threat. But we know how well we can counter-attack. So therefore, even with it being all United, I'm still expecting somebody to pop up in the box after a counter-attack and us to go, can't believe we've stolen a goal there. Yeah. And then as I started watching the second half, I didn't have that feeling after that. The second half seemed more like, this is going to get painful soon.
No, I mean, the first half, there were a few times where Doherty went through and he elected to shoot rather than cross. Kane hit a shot, Sonny hit one. And on those occasions, on a different day, we score. And I believe that all of that energy, all of that attacking threat from Man United, all that confidence they showed would have drained away. I think you go to Old Trafford, because the crowd... Here's something else as well. I don't know whether this is just Amazon, mics were different or what. I don't think I've heard Old Trafford sound like that ever. Like their home fans, typically the library, they were singing songs from start to finish. I was like, genuinely, is this just because I haven't seen many Man United games midweek, perhaps? Because on a nighttime kickoff, people have had a few sherbets. A bit more vocal, but
I did wonder maybe Amazon were actually just playing a soundtrack into the stadium.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could have been.
They've
Yeah,
got one of the
was...
FIFA games and got the chance from that just playing it over the speakers. Yeah,
I did hear a song about good old Brian McClare at one point. So maybe showing my age. Ooh, I can't now ringing out. No, the second half, to be quite honest with you, was an absolute shambles. We typically, when Conte gets the team in at half time, he instills in them like, okay, we've come in 0-0, but you're hanging on here. You need to do this. He typically manages to instill, and I find second half we improve.
Normally,
we went 1-0. We went 1-0 down within a minute, and it was like the whole team just went, "Oh, screw it." It was awful. It was really awful. The first half, like I said, it felt like a kind of a punch and counter punch affair. United dominated the ball and pressed really well, but we had so much threat. And United, I honestly felt we take a chance, and United are just going to go, ugh,
Yeah, this again. Here we go. Yeah.
But second half, it was atrocious. I don't think there's any defending that second half performance at all. And only, from me personally, Hugo Lloris can hold his hands up as he did well. He was the only player, and he's conceded 2 goals in that second half. But I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at all the players, and I'm a massive fan of a lot of these players, their consistency. And the only thing I could say is a few of them looked fatigued. Eric Dyer, I think, has played every game. Is now making mistakes and looking fatigued. Højbjerg and Bentancur, just in that second half, it's been like the first half kind of held their own a little bit. Second half, not at all. They were passengers.
Basuma, those first 15 minutes that I saw at home, Basuma was looking a bit more like the player we wanted from Brighton. He was closing players down, he was running at players, high press. I didn't see much of that when I was watching it second half.
No.
Not as much as I'd want to see.
It was. They really, really struggled. And it was I don't know what it is. Conte called it out post-matches. We are struggling with a mentality issue in big games. He said we lost to Arsenal, we drew with Chelsea, but Chelsea dominated the game. He said, and now we've gone to Old Trafford. Now, he can call that out if he wants, and he's right. Every fan knows it, and this is not brand new information. But at the same time, he's an elite level coach, and surely to God, he should be the one fixing it.
Considering he's had this massive... Yeah, we have this big squad now, and yay, big squad players, yay! 75 minutes, 2-0 down, no substitutions, and what looks like absolutely knackered players.
I don't get it. I don't understand. You can make 5 subs now. He fought hard to improve the squad in the summer, and he's looking at it. I felt for the players brought on. Jed Spence, Skip being brought on in that situation. What are you expecting them to do?
Yeah.
I get 2-0 up against Everton. I get bringing a few kids on to go, right, go on, run around the pitch for a minute, get your bearings, because eventually, you're going to get used, and I don't want you to be terrified of the stadium the first time you ever come on, so get out there. I completely get it. Yeah. I get the comfortable bringing people on. All right, fine. In this situation, the game is gone. He could have made changes at half time. He could have, when we conceded, I get sort of going, right, give it a minute, see if the team react. Anyone watching knew it felt like it was going to be 2-0 United any minute. We were hanging on.
Yep.
And nothing. There's no reaction, no tactical change, no personnel change, no anything. And again, I'm just kind of, I don't know. I don't know what to say, because he is without a shadow of a doubt an elite level coach, and knows far more about this squad than I ever will. Mm-hmm. And knows far more about football than I ever will. But just as a fan, sort of watching it, I'm baffled. I don't get why Højbjerg, Dyer, etc. are being run literally into the ground. They're starting every single game. They're playing practically Kane as well.
Yeah. And
it cannot be a surprise, therefore, that midweek away at Man United, they look leggy. They look like their touch isn't right. Their passing's not... I mean, Kane was spraying passes around like peak Hoddle, and then couldn't even control a ball. It was bizarre, just a bizarre crap performance. And the frustrating thing is I've spent my life watching Tottenham go to Old Trafford and get smacked. You know, regardless of form, regardless of anything else, you go to Old Trafford, we're going to lose. I don't have any expectation of winning anything there. But this season, you look at the table, you look at the form of the two teams, and you'd expect us to go there and at least play. I mean, if you lose a game of football, that happens. But go there and give it a frigging go. You know, we basically went there.
You want to
just
attack and go for it. And
well, then at least throw a punch, you know.
Yeah, and by that, it's not a case of go 2-0 down and swap your centre-back and defensive midfielder, sort of like your left-back. It was like, we've got players that, like Lucas, who will get on the ball. And I mean, ask the United manager what Lucas is like as a player.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And he left him on the bench for so long, and I'm like, come on, we have players there that can go and make a difference.
Well, you got Lucas Moura, who Ten Hag probably still has some sort of Vietnam flashback over, some deep-seated PTSD fear factor. And also, the last time Lucas Moura started at Old Trafford, he scored twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get it. You know, fitness-wise, he knows the condition of the players. But when we went 1-0 down, and we weren't getting back into the game, even with 3 in midfield, we weren't doing anything. So make the switch. Take one of them off, bring Lucas on, and go back to the more attacking formation and try and get the ball forward. Because you know, Kane drops deep and plays it in. Lucas would have had the run in of their defence. I look at that Man United defence and I look at it and think, that's vulnerable. You know, here's a really frustrating thing for me as well. Perisic, a phenomenal deliverer of the ball.
Yep.
Doherty, a big guy. Kane, a big guy. Sonny, for his size, is really great in the air.
Yep.
We have got the biggest. Their central defenders are dwarfed by Harry Kane.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw a ball go in the box head height.
No.
We were hitting it on the ground. And I'm just thinking, surely that is like one of the most basic things, looking at this Man United defence, that you would say is when you're delivering the ball, get in there and get over those defenders and whip the ball in head height for Kane.
Kane, go and attack it,
Anyway, we could talk about it and we could talk about it. It ain't going to change the result. We lost 2-0 away at Man United. It's going to be one of those results over the season where if we manage to pick up enough points elsewhere and we manage to keep rolling, it's one you could look at. Losing 2-0 at Old Trafford, okay, you know, that can happen. I mean, Arsenal lost to Man United this season.
Yeah, we're not going to be the only
teams
team.
will lose. No, other teams are going to lose to Man United this season. Because, like I said, you look at them, they are quality. That squad they've got there, the team, that first 11 they put out against us, you looked at it and went, oh, bloody hell. Attacking-wise, anyway, I still think you could get at them defensively, but, you know, that's a side note. So, for me, you got to write the game off. You got to go, right, okay, that's done. That is done. It was a shit performance. Nobody deserves any kind of praise off the back of it. You all deserve a slap, if anything. And now you got to focus on the next game, because what we have been able to do under Conte is create a fortress at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Teams don't like coming to us right now. And the next team up in our next game is Newcastle United, who are flying this season. Are playing good football. They're confident, and they will come to our stadium, great big, you know, arena, and are going to go for it. They're not going to shut up shop. You know, Eddie Howe's going to play the way Eddie Howe plays. And I used to like playing him at Bournemouth because we used to smash them 5-1 on a regular basis because they'd never change how they played. We have got to be up for it. We have got to go into that game. Like, Conte, the coaches, everybody just needs to drill into this team. It's like, okay, you've lost that game, but you can shake that off now. Or, you know, or this becomes a slump. This becomes an issue, and this is this is, our season falling apart. And we just can't allow it. A 2-0 away defeat at Old Trafford over the whole season you can write off. You then lose to Newcastle at home off the back of it, and things are going bad.
Yeah, that's when you've got to start asking questions.
Yeah, and that's and rightfully so. I mean, I'll tell you one thing before we completely move on from the Man United thing. I saw, as full time was approaching, journalists, and I follow a lot of them on Twitter, for example. They were just going in 2-footed on Tottenham. And I mean, this was attacking versus defence. And it was just this absolute onslaught of abuse and kind of Tottenham got what they deserved kind of scenario. And I kind of went all the way through it, and I felt pretty aggravated with the way we played. We didn't play well, and I'm annoyed by that. But my overall takeaway from it is, we get praised as Tottenham are doing really well. Tottenham are up there in the top 4. They're not setting the world alight like other teams are, but they're efficient. There's not just one way to win a football match, and they're doing it, and this is really interesting, and it's good, and he's building to something there. Mm-hmm. But the minute we don't play well, the minute we lose, it's like every single headline that's ever been written about boring is just thrown at us. And I don't know, I kind of walked away from Twitter last night just that felt like it was copied and pasted. It felt like they all had that ready, and the minute we tripped, they were just going to pile on. Yeah, because it's the game hadn't even finished, and it was just tweet after tweet and story after story with typical, clickbait headlines. Mm-hmm. And I just looked at it. I was going through it all, just thinking, "Geez, I'm annoyed." And I've looked through Spurs Twitter, and all the fans are annoyed. Everyone's kind of questioning for why is it we can't ever seem to be motivated for a big game. This is what the hell goes on? But what's your take, mate? I mean, what are your thoughts? I don't know if you see the same sort of thing as I do, but do you feel that it's actually justified to diving on us like that, or do you feel that, like me, it's a bit over the top?
I think it's slightly over the top. I mean, I'm looking at the league table now, and even with Chelsea and United with a game in hand, unless Chelsea win their next game 5-0, we still sit third in the table after everyone's played 11 games. So we are still up there. At most, we will be 3 points behind City, who are in second place. Now, we haven't played amazing football, and I saw a tweet, I think it was you that sent me it. You sent me a tweet about how, this Tottenham side are grinding out results, and yet we've not hit the third gear yet. And with that, there's a mass frustration at the fact of why are we not hitting third, fourth and fifth gear yet? Because if we do hit those higher gears, then we should be ripping teams like a United apart.
Yep.
However, we're not hitting those third gears, fourth gears yet. But at the same time, we've won 7 games. We've only lost 2.
Yeah.
I know you said earlier about the comparisons with the whole Jose teams, and I know I have been guilty myself of making that comparison of, I know we're getting results, but Christ, it's bad to watch at times. But at the same time, you can also see the fitness levels. You can see the happiness in the squad. A lot of the players are still, you see the pictures of everyone turning up to training and getting ready for the matches. Everyone's happy. They weren't with Jose there.
No, they weren't.
The fact that Harry Kane is talking about if Conte signs a new contract, let's talk about mine and stuff. That would not have been happening the last few seasons. No. So clearly, the squad itself is happy, and the squad itself obviously understand that we are moving in the right way to start really challenging for things. Yeah. So, for me, I think the journalists kind of going in 2-footed like they have is very over the top. We don't need that sort of... We don't need that press, but we expect it.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. It is the expectation now of... That's kind of where we're at. Okay, so me and you have talked a lot. We've given our opinions. It is time now to hand over to fellow Tottenham fans who will give us their opinions or thoughts or comments and questions.
Now it's time for your comments from our social media.
I do like that theme.
I like
that. Instagram or Facebook, where do you want to start?
Let's go with lovely Laura.
Okay, we are off to Instagram where we have one. We have one message, and it's from someone with their own theme, and it's my favourite.
Now it's time for a comment from Island Brother.
Seriously, love that thing. Okay, it's from Island Brother who says, "Hey guys, no negativity. Was expecting more of a fight at Man U, but this is a long season with more up and downs to come." Very level-headed. I like that as a start.
That. Good start.
Got the formation I wanted, but not the fullbacks. Conte's still playing Russian roulette out there. Question. Do you all believe this saving energy playing within ourselves because of the craziness of the schedule for the season? Keep well and come on you Spurs. I talked about that last week on the solo thing, about a kind of theory that Conte is the kind of manager who would plan a season, sit down with the fitness coaches and go, right,
yeah,
this is going to be mental because of the World Cup. We are going to play in this way, this manner, etc. Get us and see where we are, see where the fitness levels are. Truly, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of I think it could just be a very convenient thought process because we're clearly, as your analogy about gears is correct. We watch us and we're like, we're in third gear. We're in cruise control. There doesn't appear to be any game where we've gone up through the gears and really blown a team away. There's been a few games we played well, but it just never looks like we've gone up and gone. Man United last night against us did that.
Yep.
Man United went up a gear or two, and we everyone was just kind of like, where the hell has this Man United been?
Yeah, I mean, I remember even our game against Southampton, 1-0 down, and then we won the game by a big scoreline. Yeah. And even then, I was watching it going, we could still step this up a couple of gears. Yeah. We could really go to town here. Oh, okay, we're not going to, but
we're not going to. No, and it's that kind of looking like we're playing within ourselves, I think, leads to that kind of theory of we're trying to control, we're trying to make sure measured, and then be up there. And then once the World Cup's done, when everyone's got their squads back and everyone's kind of like, oh, so-and-so's injured. So, you don't know. It's going to be so great. It's like 2 seasons.
Yeah.
It's like the objective is be top 4 and still in all the cups. It's like that's the objective. Go to the World Cup, and then it's like, right, okay, bang, our objective now is to win stuff.
Let's start again, yeah.
I don't know. It's bizarre, but that's my thinking. But we'll have to wait and see. But thank you, Island Brother, for your lovely question. It takes us over to Facebook now, and we have Matthew Fleming, who says, hope it's not just Sam this week. Cheers.
Ouch.
Yeah, but I'll still be listening if it is. Yeah, all right. It's a bit of a backhanding. It's like when someone go out on a date. It's like, oh, you'd be really attractive if it wasn't for. And it's like, go on, finish that sentence. What are you going to say, you bastard?
Yeah, lovely personality.
Yeah, went out with a woman with a sparkling personality. Yeah, but that was it. Yeah. What are Spurs lacking to control games like the United away game? I felt the free in midfield was key to this, but they got the runaround. Stefan, do you want to go first on that one?
I think the key itself, I think we touched on it, maybe the fatigue. Some of the players did just genuinely look shattered. Yeah. Whereas United looked kind of on it a lot more.
Yeah.
And I still think it's a slight mentality issue. I think we've taken these players to Old Trafford and they've all kind of gone inside themselves a little bit. We need to be going to the bigger stadiums with the mentality of we're going to show you instead of, oh, this is a big place. I agree.
Yeah, I agree, especially when you consider our home stadiums now is a Coliseum. It's a phenomenal big stadium, big pitch. Really, Old Trafford shouldn't hold that kind of But I say this loads of times. You go to Selhurst Park on a Wednesday night, 8 p.m. kickoff. It is a very different place than going at 12 noon on a Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
The place is rocking. And Old Trafford last night had a good atmosphere. And the players responded. So
I love
I
love
like you, Matthew,
game
felt...
under the lights. Yeah.
Yeah, no, me too. Yeah, it's part of football, man. Matthew, I agree. I felt the free in midfield was the key, and I thought going to Old Trafford, playing that free in midfield, we would dominate possession in midfield. But the one thing, and Stefan just touched on, you can't factor in fatigue. I felt Højbjerg was so far off his performance against Everton, so far off. And Bentancur, unbelievably uncharacteristic. In a Tottenham shirt, that guy is just Mr. Reliable. Consistency. There for the pass, gives the pass, constant. He's been brilliant. Last night, really off. So, yeah, I just think you look at it and Dyer early on made a mistake. And again, you know, this season he hasn't been doing that. But the last 2 games he has. So, yeah, it's just I feel there's a fatigue factor. I'm interested to see the team selection against Newcastle, if there's going to be any or many changes. Conte doesn't seem to like making any changes ever, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, good question, well formulated. This next person has his own theme, and it's actually one that you voiced.
Hey.
Here is a question from Ryan Miller. You all know what time it is.
It's Miller time.
That's right, it's Miller time, and Ryan Miller's question is, for me it's a no-brainer that we need to get Conte on a new contract. When do you think would be a suitable time to sign him up? Has there been any news on him signing a new contract? I think waiting till the end of the season would be very risky. Also, Sam, you did a great job talking to yourself last week. Thanks, mate. Conte and a contract. Thing to remember is his deal expires this summer. However, the club holds the 1-year option. It is a club option, so literally any point we could just say, yeah, it's a whole other year. In fact, it could have already happened, just not been announced. So the club hold that, and it's there. I think at the moment, things are going pretty well. I think the Man United game, if that's isolation, so if we play well and beat Newcastle, I think overall we can all feel pretty good about the way the season's going. I think the atmosphere, if we lose the Newcastle, will be pretty toxic instantly, which sucks. But yeah, I feel like for me personally, Conte as a manager only works if you as a club are going to continue to spend. So what I mean by that is in the summer we strengthened, we improved, but you need to keep doing that. January, next summer again. And if, for example, we're going to revert to type and just go back to, oh, come on, we spent last window. You can't expect me to spend again this window. And, you know, Daniel Levy crying into his cereal bars. Then it's not going to work for us because Conte very, very quickly will start shouting about that publicly. Yeah. And there's no point tying a guy down to a 4-year deal, 3-year, 4-year, 5-year deal to only have to sack him after 6 months and pay him God knows how much money.
He's the sort of manager that I think the rolling 1-year contract works beautifully. You know what I mean?
He seems very... Yeah, he also seems very relaxed about it. And I think it's possibly... Pochettino was kind of the same. And people were really stressed about his contract situation on a regular basis. But Conte, I think Pochettino, I think a few other more modern managers kind of realised, look, I could sign a 5-year contract and then tomorrow you sack me. You know, it means nothing other than I'll get paid until I get another job. You know, that's all it means. So it's kind of like he wants to win stuff. He prioritises winning and improving his CV and improving his kind of standing above financial security. He's set for life. The man doesn't need, obviously he's not going to turn it down, but he doesn't need to earn another cent. in his life. He doesn't. He's set. So I think he prioritises now a case of, look, I'll sign a new deal here, but if I'm signing it, you guys need to be January, I need a new player, I need a creative midfielder, and you need to spend. It can't just be, yeah, I got you nobody knows heard of him from the French league.
A Daniel Levy special.
Yeah, exactly. And it needs to be players on a regular basis. And we all knew that. We all knew that squad needed to be completely chopped and changed.
Yeah.
There was no doubt in any of our minds. And the summer, the work began to do that. And the work's going to continue. But it does need to continue. And I know there's January is such a tough window. You offer them money early in the window to a club, they will take it.
So I think
that's the thing.
I think this January is going to be unlike one we've seen before, purely because of that World Cup.
Oh, massively, man. No, you're absolutely
you think
right.
Of even the summer World Cups, players' prices can go through the roof. I mean, remember Sissoko, when he was at Newcastle, had a great World Cup. Yeah. We spent a fortune on him.
Yeah.
And I think
what a bargain that turned out to be.
Exactly. Who needs Bale when you've got Sissoko? Yeah. I remember being sung. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironically, it was from the stands.
Yeah, and then he kind of fell in love with it because he was like, listening to them sing my song. I'm like, dude, we're literally taking the piss, but okay.
Yeah, it's sung out of irony, but don't worry.
But the funny thing was, though, and it does prove the impact fans can have, because he then actually did play very well for like a couple of years. It was like, Sissoko's actually part of this team now.
Yeah.
But but not
the World Cup,
not to the level.
A couple of creative midfielders have a decent World Cup and see their prices 20 million added onto them, and all of a sudden it's like, crap, right? So hopefully James Maddison does just miss out on the England call-up, and poor James Maddison. I mean, he's the player that we're linked with. Yeah.
I think Arsenal are going to make a move for him as well. But it's one of those things where, wages isn't a problem. The club can offer wages to beat anybody now. It is purely down to us agreeing a fee with the team. Now, Leicester, in their position, are not going to want to let him go. But, for me, you go early in the window and you say, like, right, now you've got the whole month to replace him.
Yeah.
And what's your price? Oh, we want 80 million. And we go, okay. Now, that is the difference between a side at the top and a side that's not, is that Man City or Liverpool, when they identified these players that their manager said, look, I need that player and I'll win something, they went, okay, bang, here's the money. Well, they went and won stuff.
Yeah, look at this summer, Núñez and Haaland. Both clubs went to Benfica and Dortmund respectively and went, how much for that player? Yeah. They didn't then turn around and go, maybe we'll offer you 6 or 7 million less. They went, how much? Done. Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get the deals done. Yeah, let's do the deals because that's what I need. And, the Pep Guardiola thing, I've talked about it before. Pep Guardiola came to England, took over that squad, which was a good Man City squad, and did nothing because they just couldn't play the way he wanted them to play. So in that summer, they went, right, 50 million for Kyle Walker, 40 million for this other fullback, 40 million for this player. Next thing you know, they're winning everything. Yep. Because he identified, this is what I need, go and get me the best players in those positions, and they did. Then you've got Liverpool. I need a goalkeeper, I need a defender, and they went and bought the best available in those, spent a lot of money.
Yeah, Alisson and Van Dijk swapped them.
Yeah, loads of money, and they won. They won stuff. They won the Champions League. They won the Premier League. And Tottenham are now in this position where we are back into the top 4. We've got a manager who's ambitious to win stuff, and he will be saying, get me this, the best possible player in this position, and it will take us on. We will then be able to do more. And it's just, I think as a Tottenham fan, it's kind of ingrained in me that we're just not going to do it. I mean, I want us to. I want it to be different. I want it to be that we as a club have now built the stadium, we've got everything in place, and now we're going to really go for winning stuff. But it just doesn't feel like it. It just, even in the summer, you know, we put the investment in from ENIC, which shocked me. We did our business early, which shocked me.
Yeah.
I'm happy with all the business we did. I'm completely understanding that clubs in Europe don't have the money to buy players, so there's been loads of loan deals rather than just selling them. I get it. I get what's going on with that, and I understand the position the club's in, but the fact is that we've done that. You know, we've bought players in without having to sell first. And now I'm looking at it in January, I'm thinking, if we can just, you know, think about Kulusevski and Bentancur impact was massive. Like last January they came in,
huge impact,
and the impact was huge, like phenomenal.
Yeah.
Surely that should send a message that needs to happen again. You know, you need to find a player or two players who are going to come into the first 11 and just this whole team's going to be lifted again. And because if you can do that, because he did that, Kulusevski and Bentancur, John, we were at 9th and we finished in the top 4.
Yeah.
We are potentially going to be in the top 4. So if we add these players, what can we do? You know, there's so much, and it should be a lesson. It should be a lesson to Levy, to the whole club. Buy well, buy good players, buy quality, and look at the difference it makes. However, I don't know. It's years and years and years of being a Spurs fan, years and years and years. You know, 2 decades of ENIC doesn't get wiped away in one transfer window. You know, so I'm possibly sounding negative, but it just makes me nervous. What are your thoughts anyway on that? Do you feel that perhaps things have changed and that's why Conte's still with us and stuff, or do you have that fear factor like me?
It's a strange one because every interview Conte's kind of done talking about the club, he genuinely sounds really happy to be there. He's always like, I'm enjoying my time here, I'm enjoying my time in the club, I get on with the board, I enjoy the squad. And I'm like, okay. And the money we're making from the stadium and things like that, like the money, we know now that we are a financial juggernaut. We know that's there. It's not hidden. We know we're making the money now. So I really, really hope that this is going to be a case of, right, we have taken a step. Even if it's a case of Levy and Joe Lewis are going, right, do you know what? We're going to give this like 2 years. Let's give Conte 2 seasons, so 4 transfer windows, starting in the summer we've just had, of giving him what he wants. And if after those 2 seasons we're not seeing the improvements, or we're not title challengers, we're not winning things, then we're going to turn around and go, oi, we gave you 4 windows, you ain't done it yet.
Yeah.
But at least I'm hoping they're going to at least give him those couple of windows for him to kind of go, look, this is what we could do. Because guess what? If we win the Champions League, for example, that's a lot of money coming in the club.
Yeah.
You win the Premiership, that's a lot of money coming in the club.
Yeah.
Brand exposure and stuff like that. If you're in the latter stages of the Champions League, that's a lot of exposure with all these big brands and things. So the money is there. Like
it is.
You need to accumulate. Speculate to accumulate, and that is what I'm hoping.
You're not wrong, mate. But
that's
You're not wrong, but that's been the same for 20 years.
However, I'm a Spurs fan, so we're probably going to sell Harry in the summer and just disappear.
Yeah. Conte out. This guy coming back. We don't talk about no. Can you imagine? I think I'd be done. I think I'd be done. But anyway, mate, that's it. That's our show this week. That is Spurs news. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody for continuing to listen, especially whilst we've been kind of hit and miss with the shows of late. I can't apologise enough about that, but we will keep endeavouring to stay on track, and appreciate all the messages that have come in for us as well, so thank you for that. I want to say a massive thank you to you, my friend, because I literally dragged you from your sick bed to do this, so I wasn't talking to myself, so thank you, you're a hero, and I think you've sounded much better as the show's gone on, so the man flu is starting to lift.
Oh, I hope so.
I hope so. I hope so too. So yeah, a big thank you to everybody. Get in touch. You can contact us via all our social media, via Instagram, Facebook. You can email in. That's typically on the podcast description. But yeah, until next week, everyone, you all take care.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Spurs News Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Stay up to date with all things Tottenham. Follow us on social media. All links are in the podcast description.